podcast, I've decided to start documenting our trying to conceive journey. It's become much more of a journey than I ever anticipated. And watching a lot of other YouTube videos over the many months of us trying has helped me feel less alone and be able to relate with other people, so many other people in the world going through infertility issues and struggles to start a family. And so I thought, as well as documenting the journey for my husband and I, it's a great way of putting it out there and hopefully reaching out to someone else going through something similar. So I'll start with a bit of background. I've been married for almost 3 years. I've been with my husband for 8. We started trying to conceive in June 2014 and found out I was pregnant on my husband's birthday after 3 months of trying. We had an ultrasound at 7 weeks, strong heartbeat, 130 beats per minute, and then we had another ultrasound. I should have been around 10 weeks, but our obstetrician couldn't find a heartbeat. So that was devastating for us. We just didn't see, miscarriage wasn't on our radar, and we were completely shocked, really. I don't know why it wasn't on our radar, but we just weren't expecting that to happen. So the baby should have been 10 weeks, measuring 8 weeks, 4 days. So I had missed miscarriage, had to have a D&C 2 days later, and we started trying again a month and a half after that surgery. And each month did a pregnancy test, excited, no 2 lines, just 1 line, negative. Did that for 12 months, and as you know, people out there have been through trying to conceive and it not happening, you know what an emotional roller coaster that can be. When we reached the 6-month mark of trying, I made an appointment with my obstetrician again to do all the relevant tests, just to make sure that my husband was fine, I was fine, and that there wasn't something wrong, because I conceived so easily before. I had a gut feeling that something wasn't right. All those tests came back fine. My egg count was great. Tim's sperm analysis was wonderful. So we stupidly decided to try for another 6 months. Even though everything came back fine, so we just figured maybe it's stress, maybe, I don't know. We just made that decision. And when we reached the 12-month mark and we still weren't pregnant, we went back and I was scheduled to have a laparoscopy to see if I have any signs of endometriosis or blocked or damaged fallopian tubes. So that was scheduled for November last year, end of November. When I came out of surgery, I was waking up from the anaesthetic. My obstetrician came over to me and explained what he had found. No endometriosis, but he explained that one of my fallopian tubes was completely blocked, the other one was partially blocked, and that my chances of conceiving naturally were very low. That was all he said. He said, book an appointment with me in 4 weeks' time and we'll go through what's next. That news was completely devastating to me. I've always wanted to be a mum, and I just couldn't believe that. One, I didn't know what reason my tubes had become damaged. But just the news that IVF was going to be our only option, we couldn't conceive naturally, was pretty devastating. But I'm completely aware there are people who are given much worse news, and I was still grateful that we had an option to have a family, and it could have been worse. But it was still really hard news to take. So 4 weeks later, we met up with our obstetrician just before Christmas, and he explained, it's my cat Mittens. He explained that he believes I got a minor infection after the D&C from the miscarriage, from the surgery, which damaged my tubes. And I was asymptomatic. I had no symptoms of an infection, nothing. So I was pretty surprised to hear that was the cause. I was concerned it also had something to do with having a missed miscarriage and the baby, being inside of me for a week and a bit, when it was no longer alive, could have possibly had a bit to do with an infection as well, but he didn't think that was the case, so I don't know. So that was December, and we had an appointment then with the IVF coordinators early January. They went through everything, what the process of doing IVF entails, and then we were scheduled to start IVF in February, mid-February this year. But on my birthday, in mid-January, I was I was more than a few days late. I was pretty much a week late. So I decided to take a pregnancy test just to rule out, so I wouldn't drive myself crazy. And there were 2 lines, and could not believe it. My husband and I were pretty surprised. We were just given the news that the chances of us conceiving naturally were pretty much nothing. But our excitement was also a bit tarnished by the fact that we were told our chances of having an ectopic pregnancy was a lot higher. Not a lot higher, 10%, I think it was higher than, because my tubes were blocked, we were at an increased risk of having an ectopic pregnancy. So we were over the moon. We considered it our miracle baby that we'd conceived naturally. So that was on the weekend, and then Monday I called my obstetrician straight away to give him the news. He was quite surprised, but cautiously congratulated me, and scheduled me to have blood tests for the Tuesday and the Thursday to see if my levels increased. I got the call Friday. He said that they looked wonderful, and that we could rule out it's a viable pregnancy. We can rule out that it's an ectopic, which was great news. And I had an ultrasound with him. I was 6 weeks when I had the first ultrasound, and all looked great. Baby was in the right place. We even saw a heartbeat, which he said isn't, usually he only sees heartbeats when the baby's measuring 5 millimetres, I think it is. Ours was measuring 3 millimetres, and he could see a heartbeat. I then had weekly ultrasounds to lessen my anxiety. Don't know if it helped, because I was very anxious over those few weeks, but no, it definitely helped reassure me that nothing was wrong. My symptoms weren't as strong as the last pregnancy. I was constantly hungry and nauseous if I didn't eat constantly, but no vomiting or nothing major. It was manageable. So that concerned me. When my symptoms disappeared, I was worried I had another miscarriage. So the weekly ultrasounds definitely helped in easing my mind that everything was fine. So the next 3 ultrasounds we heard heartbeats, which was a magical sound. And then I had an ultrasound on the 16th of February, a couple of weeks ago. My husband, it was one appointment, my husband couldn't make it to in time. He got stuck in traffic and there was no way he was going to make it to the appointment. So I told him not to stress and I'd just call him afterwards. But yes, that was the ultrasound that my husband wishes he was at. Again, no heartbeat. We lost the baby. Which, yeah, again was completely devastating. Awful news to have to call my husband and tell him that we'd lost the baby, because we just considered it to be our, miracle baby, and it was meant to be. I don't know, we were due to start IVF in a month's time and we found out we were pregnant and we just thought, this is it. This is our take-home baby, but unfortunately not. So the next day I had a D&C again, and 2 weeks later here we are. I'm scheduled to have my follow-up appointment with my obstetrician in 2 weeks, 2 and a bit weeks, which I'm anxiously awaiting for. He did send the baby off to be genetically tested so we can try and get to the cause of why the miscarriage happened. It's such a shit thing to happen, and it happens to so many people, and it's just scary to think that it could happen again. I don't know, I'm just anxiously awaiting the results, and we've still got a bit over 2 weeks to find out why it happened. I am hoping it was a chromosomal issue and nothing to do with me. If it was something to do with me, further tests will need to be done. But yeah, it's definitely been an emotional roller coaster ride, that's for sure. But I know there's so many other women out there going through the same thing or similar things, and I really think it helps to talk about it. It's good to, again, document, to look back on later on, reminisce. I don't know whether we'll want to reminisce, but it's definitely been an emotional roller coaster ride, and I think the ride's not over. So I'm not sure whether we'll try naturally for a couple of months or we'll just jump straight into IVF. I've also been researching the possibility of doing IVF and getting the embryos genetically tested to rule out transferring or freezing any embryos that are abnormal. But I don't know if this option will be available to us. I don't know whether it's necessary. I know there are so many women out there who have multiple miscarriages and go on to have healthy children, and it does seem a bit of a shortcut and a bit of avoiding that heartbreak again. And I know there's no guarantees in any pregnancy. Every pregnancy is a miracle, and you never know what can happen. I think I was saying to a friend, you become pregnant and you feel anxious about, having a healthy baby and that everything goes okay, but I don't think that anxiety ever goes away even when the child is in the world. That's just what being a parent is about. If you've got any questions, please comment down below, and I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, love and baby dust to you all.